All right, well, thank you all for joining us tonight. We will provide a brief overview to the MCiM program. We are joined this evening by Dr. Kevin Schulman. We'll allow him to do an introduction and the next couple of slides.
Great, thanks Zoe, and thanks for joining us tonight. So I'm Kevin Schulman, I'm director of the program. I'm an internist, health services researcher, health economist. I have appointments at the medical school here at Stanford and at the Graduate School of Business, and really excited to participate in the MCiM program. This is a new program here at Stanford, started in June of this year. We're almost halfway through the first cohort, so and things have been going really well. In large part, thanks to Zoe Richardson, who's our associate director. And Zoe and I have been working together for a year to put this together before the first cohort got here, arrived. And we're also supported by Veronica Schulte and Lisa Sandoval in the MCiM program office. So you may see any of their names on correspondence. So what we'll talk about tonight is briefly an overview of the program. What are the skills that students would gain from the program? Who we think might benefit? How can one apply? Some FAQs and a chance for some live Q&A. And obviously, if we don't answer all your questions tonight, you can feel free to answer the MCiM email address. So we start kind of at the beginning with a decade ago with the HITECH Act. President Obama signed this legislation that spent $38 billion on incentives for providers to adopt electronic health record systems. And I talk a lot about this in class about the idea, the vision of what the technology is going to do for healthcare. And it's a really exciting vision, connecting doctor and patients to more complete and accurate records, tools like electronic prescribing and decision support, clinical decision support, and better technology cut costs for providers by reducing paperwork and duplicative tests. It's a gret vision. It's really kind of interesting. Almost none of this is a description of where we are today after this investment. After I finish, I'm on Clinical Services Week, so after we finish tonight, I'm going to go back and finish signing my charts from today. And so it's not reducing paperwork and duplicative tests, maybe that we don't print the paper anymore, but we got plenty of it. And the question is why? Why is it that we invested all this in technology and continue to have these challenges? So, we believe firmly that the answer is a lot about the business model that we, in class, I talk a lot about digitizing analog processes and not adopting digital processes. And so what we did in healthcare is actually, and even the Office of National Coordinator for Health IT calls electronic health records a digital version of a paper chart. But that's not what we need. We need a digital version of healthcare. And so that was really the nidus of that spawned the MCiM program. Our idea is that medicine needs a targeted, intensive approach to knowledge and skills not widely taught in terms of how to shape organizations and take advantage of a evolving digital landscape for the benefits of all of us, selfishly from the benefits of individual consumers and from a policy perspective as a way to improve the efficiency of healthcare in this country. So MCiM is a full-time master's degree program that provides a flexible format for working professionals. And we blend core business disciplines with data and health technology, biomedical ethics. All of these courses are at a management level. So the idea is we're learning about technology, but we're not learning to be technologists. The program offers a set curriculum and all courses are specialized sessions for MCiM students. It really is a really unique program. And I'll run through the curriculum. We have 6 business courses and 6 technology courses on required ethics practicum. an ethics course, I'm sorry. So I'll run through the curriculum quarter by quarter. Stanford has a quarter system, so there are 4 quarters. So you start in June, you finish in June the following year. And so quarter 1, we started with biodesign for digital technology taught by Kate Rosenbluth. Kate's a graduate of the biodesign program here at Stanford, actually the CEO of her own startup company. With Kate's help, the biodesign groups redesigned their entire curriculum to think about how to apply the concepts that have been so successful in biodesign to the digital health landscape. And that course went really, really well for our students. Accounting for Managers and Entrepreneurs is taught by John Lord from the engineering school. And this is both financial and managerial accounting. And so we, talk about cash flow statements, balance sheets, income statements, but also things like cost accounting. They're really so important in healthcare. Principles of Business Strategy is really exciting, taught by Tip Kim and Linda Hoff. Tip is the head of networks here at Stanford, and Linda is our CFO for the hospital. Tip had a 19-year career in business consulting with LEK. And so he brings both an understanding of the theory of consulting and practical applications of consulting, while Linda and Tip together actually have to deal with strategy issues on a daily basis at Stanford Hospital. So this course covers covers strategy, the core elements of business strategy, covers applications, these elements to the healthcare system, and also issues like governance and how do we lead organizations, large healthcare organizations, deal with the board, deal with the CEO and prepare them and develop business strategy. So it was a really fun course. People have really enjoyed it. And then throughout the year, we have a course called Bioethical Challenges of New Technologies, taught by Dave Magnus, who runs our Bioethics Center here at Stanford. This is a chance for us to really take a different look at the topics that we talk about in class from an ethics perspective. So there's no shortage of discussion topics these days about the ethics of machine learning, applications of machine learning, the ethics of how the system's organized, either in healthcare or in technology. And so those are all the issues that we work with David on throughout the year. He's been very excited by the conversations in class with the students as we've worked through these questions. Quarter 2 starts with marketing science and patient engagement, taught by Jonathan Levov from the business school. This is kind of the core marketing course, similar to the core marketing course at the GSB, Graduate School of Business, but with a focus on healthcare, and that's the patient engagement part. How do we understand applications of consumer theory to patient decision-making? So, in most things that you purchase, there's, we're making pretty reasoned decisions based on the, costs and benefits of some technology or the features, cost trade-off against features. In healthcare, we actually extend that to say, in some circumstances, we're making decisions, life and death decisions. And in some circumstances, or I should say in all circumstances in healthcare in general, we're in heightened emotional states. And that really shapes decision-making in really fundamentally different ways. And so that's all addressed in this course by Jonathan. That's been going really well. Leading and Managing Healthcare Organizations, taught by Sarah Singer. Sarah is a faculty member, again, at the business school and the medical school, and ran the Executive Masters in Public Health at Harvard's business school for many years before coming back. She was a Stanford graduate and returned to Stanford. And so really brings fundamental management insights into the classroom. My class is called Health IT and Strategy. I teach it in term 2, and this is looking at core economic models of how we've deployed technology in non-healthcare markets and how we could think about, using those economic structures in healthcare markets. It's a really fun course. Last weekend we got to our last session for MCiM. We talked about two different companies by Todd Park. We talked about Athena Health and Devoted Health all in one day, which is really kind of interesting. Quarter three, we start with corporate financial management taught by Blake Johnson, again from the engineering school. So Blake was on faculty here at Stanford, then moved into venture capital. Looks at finance, kind of core corporate finance, again, the same way we do in the business school, but then with a real focus on startup firms. So how do you think about, from a management perspective, whatever your milestones are going to be or metrics that you're going to use to understand the performance of the firm going forward, things like software as a service. Nigam Shah is one of the leading scientists here at Stanford in machine learning, computer science. He's got appointments in the medical school, in our Center for Biomedical Research, Computational Research, Beamer, and data, really popular professor. And so data science for medicine is really looking at what are the potential opportunities to use ideas about machine learning and how they can be applied to different data sources in healthcare. Dave Schenker is joint between the engineering school, joint appointments in the engineering school and the medical school. And he teaches a course in healthcare operations. So this is a traditional kind of service operations course, but David brings two unique flavors to it. One is he's a mathematician and is an expert in machine learning, and so we bring a machine learning lens to healthcare operations, how to use the data that we have and collect in healthcare to the greatest effect. And the other is he teaches courses here at Stanford where he's bringing students into real operational management issues in both Lucile Packard Children's Hospital and in Stanford Healthcare, the adult hospital. And so lots of insights into how these tools can be applied and barriers and challenges have to be overcome. In term three, quarter three and quarter four, Gordon Bloom, again, joined at the Graduate School of Business and the medical school, teaches our practicum course. And this is an opportunity to apply the new skills that you learn in the program to take a deep dive in an issue. If you want to stay with a current employer to show your current employer applications, your new skills. If you want to move employers, to take a deep dive into new areas of the market, new different kinds of opportunities. And so this is really kind of individual or small group practicum project. Is selfishly, I keep telling everyone this is your last opportunity to do something really that advances your career under the supervision of the Stanford faculty. Then quarter four, we have two more courses to wrap up the program that haven't been introduced yet. The first is Modeling Biomedical Systems, taught by Mark Musin, who's a professor of medicine. This is a traditional bioinformatics course, so we talk about data architectures and data systems here. And then a really unique course that we've had lots of fun putting together, Quality and Safety in the U.S. Healthcare System, taught by Kristen Sanini and Regina Nuzio. And this is a statistics class at its core, but the question is, how do we understand data analysis to really gain insights? So it's a reverse classroom idea that starts with reports that we get in the healthcare sector, and then ask questions: what were the data used to create this report? What do we understand about the report and the quality data, the data that went into it, and issues with the data? And then what do we understand about the analysis and whether or not it's actionable? So that's going to be a really fun course and really insightful. So that's the program. In terms of the format, we complete our MCiM courses within the 4 Stanford quarters. In general, there's 6 on-site weekends where students come together to attend class on Friday and Saturday. On-site weekends occur roughly every other week during the semester. Zoe's kind enough to give us major holidays off. So sometimes we jigger things a little bit. During the weeks when class is not held, you continue to work on coursework, assignments and group projects. And the students really have a rhythm down these days now that they're expert second semester. And this is what the on-site weekend looks like on a typical weekend. And so a Friday would start with our bioethics course. Might have my course to follow. We might have a guest lecture at lunch. We could have then Jonathan's course and finish up and then finish up with Sarah Singer's course. Generally, we provide lunch, dinner on Friday and lunch on Saturday. We generally have some type of event on Friday evening, in terms of guest lectures or workshops or panels to bring everyone together. And then Zoe's constantly planning other activities for people. And I just found out recently on Saturday afternoon, a lot of students get together for socializing after the hard weekend class. So through MCiM, we think you'll acquire a greater understanding of the operational, clinical, and ethical complexities that leaders face as they seek to optimize new and innovative solutions in healthcare. To build you'll be able to build management skills to lead multidisciplinary teams. You'll learn to strategically leverage data and technology tools in a variety of different kinds of settings. We think you'll immediately, and the students validate this, apply your in-class learnings to advance your career when you go back to work on Monday. And we really welcome you to join an exceptionally accomplished and diverse group of professionals and thought leaders in medicine, business, and technology in the program, in the faculty, and across the university campus. We've really brought together lots of different resources at Stanford to pull this program off. We're excited by all of these collaborations, and they really are the underpinnings of the program. And these are some of the most interesting research groups here at Stanford. So we hope that you'll be really an opportunity to benefit from being part of our community. We host events as part of our on-sites as well as during off-site weekends to really build community, to have guest lectures, to meet experts in the field. And we're starting our career panels. So we have career development workshops that are going on now for the MCiM students. We've built a really exclusive mentor program with mentors from across various sectors of the healthcare industry. So whatever your interests are, we have a mentor available, interested to work with you to help you understand opportunities and help you think about ways to network into those parts of the industry. And then you're also a full-time graduate student here at Stanford, and so you have access to all the events across campus, guest speakers, elective courses. Last week, our grand round speaker in the Department of Medicine was Don Berwick, who had been CMS administrator, started the Institute for Healthcare Improvement. And we worked with, all of our students were invited to listen to his course, to his talk. We think MCiM's open to individuals from a variety of technical backgrounds. We aim to have a student body that brings a diverse set of perspectives and experience to the cohort. We think that, we're looking for people who are proven or emerging leaders with desire to transform healthcare through the power of technology innovation. Our class is about 45% with a clinical background, 55% with a business or technical background. Here at Stanford, we have faculty members, we have fellows, we have nurses, but we also draw from people across the Bay Area and across the country who really understand the impact a program like this can have on their career. And that's what really gets us excited. Stanford and MCiM value diversity and inclusion. And we see this in several very specific ways. Our classroom is diverse in terms of professional backgrounds, demographic backgrounds, and a culturally diverse cohort. Our students are different stages of their lives and their careers. And so you're going to be on a team with senior people and junior people. And so you understand how to build teams across these different, both people's backgrounds and their different career stages. And we touch 3 fields where women and minority groups have been underrepresented in leadership roles: technology, informatics, and medicine. And Stanford and the School of Medicine and our program is committed to trying to use this program to address this kind of chronic issue in the healthcare system by developing a diverse cohort of leaders that will advance diversity, equity, and inclusiveness as they go forward with the skills they obtain through our program. We were very excited by the diversity of class that we have today, our first class, and we want to make sure we continue that tradition. So I'm gonna turn it over to Zoe now. So thank you all for joining us, and good luck in this process. Obviously, Zoe's here to answer your questions. If you have any other questions, she'll explain how to contact us. So thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Kevin. So I'll go ahead and now speak to the application process, some of the common questions, and then any questions that you all may have. First thing that I want to note is that we follow a holistic admissions process in terms of how we receive our applicants. And this really ties back to what Kevin was already speaking to in regards to the fact that our program really is looking for people with a variety of different backgrounds. We are looking to continue to identify, foster, and support current and emerging leaders that value diversity, inclusion, and we think about that in terms of how we're selecting our applicants and making sure that we have people who hold those values as well. I should note that we are a robust full degree program that's completed in 1 year. So also as part of the admissions process, applicants will be asked to demonstrate their readiness to be able to complete the program. Most people that are completing our program are also working full-time. So you'll note that our specific essay question is around how do you plan to juggle the many requirements of the program plus working full-time. I should note that we are a summer term only start. And that is because we are a cohort-based program. So all students are completing this set curriculum together at the same time. This really starts a really wonderful community building opportunity. And that's part of the reason why we have it set up that way. To apply to MCiM, you would utilize the Stanford Graduate Admissions Portal. We offer 2 admissions rounds. Our round 1 closed earlier this week, and round 2 currently is open. This will be open until January 7th, but I strongly recommend to apply as soon as possible. Do not wait until midnight January 7th to get your application in. It really behooves you to submit it a month, at least a week in advance, to make sure that if there are any issues, we can flag it before the actual deadline to get the application in, because our timeline doesn't allow much wiggle room after that January 7th date. In terms of required application materials, Stanford will require unofficial transcripts for any university or institutions that you attended for 1 year or longer. We have our essay response, the one being how you plan to manage the rigor of the program. The other being there is a required diversity statement where you will be asked to speak to, in the lens of diversity, equity, inclusion, what do you plan to bring to the Stanford community to enrich the community? This can be completed within the text box, or applicants may submit an additional document, and details about that are available on our website. We do require a CV, a statement of purpose, 3 letters of recommendation. If you have been out of school for 5 years or more, you do not have to have a recommender who is a prior instructor. But if you are 5 or less years, you will have to have at least one of those recommenders be someone who oversaw you in a academic setting. TOEFL scores are required for anyone whose first language is not English. And then Stanford does have an application fee. There are fee waivers available for graduate students at Stanford. It's based off of if you have engaged in a diversity-based program, and a list of what those eligible programs are is on the Stanford Graduate Admissions website. And we also have a link from the MCiM website to that list. We are an eligible program with the Knight Hennessy Scholars Program. The deadline to have applied to Knight Hennessy Scholars was on October 6th. If you already submitted with Knight Hennessy, you have until November 30th to submit your MCiM application. The key thing to note is you have to do 2 separate applications, and when you apply to MCiM, you need to include your Knight Hennessy Scholars application. They're 2 separate processes, but we need to know your number in case they would like to move forward with you for Knight Hennessy. We have every detail you could want to know on our website. If you go to mcim.stanford.edu, under admissions, there is a application page, and it outlines how to apply, what are the requirements, FAQ, what to expect. Everything is already available on the website. Just to recap on the important dates, so round 2, the final application closure date is January 7th. Oh, again, I'll repeat, really recommend you get that in as soon as possible. If you already have applied to Knight Hennessy, you need to make sure that you get your application into MCiM by November 30th. Oh, and I apologize, this should be 2022, not 21. And for this current cohort of students, if they were to be accepted, they will matriculate and have their first quarter be summer quarter of June 2022. When you apply, it always trips everyone up because we are a summer quarter start program. The academic year is 21-22 because you're starting June 22. So everyone always is concerned that they have the wrong application year, but it's just a hard one to wrap your mind around. If you ever have any questions, you can feel free to reach out to myself and the administrative team at mciminquiry@stanford.edu. Again, we have our website, mcim.stanford.edu, that has not only information about application, it has information about our curriculum. You can see who is part of our mentors program, who is teaching in our program, and you can also see who's our current students in the program. We also have a LinkedIn. We would love to connect with you. Just go ahead and look up MCiM on LinkedIn and you will find us. We also do have a mailing list. So if you want to scan our QR code, that will automatically take you to the sign up page so you can get our common mailings. These are for the latest admissions news, invitations to guest speakers, and just other updates regarding the program. Okay, in terms of some of the common FAQ that we get a lot, the first one is if international students are able to apply for the program. The answer is yes. There are some additional pieces to be aware of if you're an international student. So the first one is to make sure that your international academic credit meets the minimum level of study. So it has to be basically the equivalent to a bachelor degree or higher. And then again, the key thing to keep in mind is if your first language is not English, you will be required to take a TOEFL. There are some exemptions. So for example, if you have already completed schooling in the US, or if you, sorry, I'm blanking on the other reasons, but there are a couple, there's a couple of options. Oh, sorry. If you're from certain areas, so if you're from the UK, you'll get automatically exemption because English is the primary language. So if you want to see if you're exempt, we have the links on our website. Everything is listed on the Stanford Graduate Admissions portal. The other thing to keep in mind is if you're an international student, you will have to either receive a visa through Stanford University to be eligible to be in the US to complete the program. In terms of the tuition fees, so the fees are set by the university. Since we are a full-time 4-quarter program, the total estimated tuition is just over $72,000. That does not include MISC expenses or living costs. It's just the tuition cost. We are CME accredited, so physicians may utilize CME funding towards their tuition. We also have individuals at Stanford and other institutions that have utilized tuition support programs towards MCiM. Stanford does not offer tuition discounts to Stanford employees or faculties. All financial aid is provided through the Stanford Graduate Financial Aid Office. If you are an international student, you are not eligible for financial aid. And the other common question is if there's an in-state versus out-of-state, and there is no tuition difference because of Stanford standing. We also get inquired if we require a GRE or have a minimum GPA. So going back to the holistic admissions process, the GRE exam has shown overwhelmingly that it can be a bias. So we intentionally do not require GRE scores. Students can include it if they feel it will help bolster their application. Generally, individuals do not provide a GRE score. And again, going back to our holistic admissions process, we do not have a minimum GPA that we utilize when we are reviewing applicants. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, do you plan to host all classes online? We get that a lot as well. So Stanford largely has completely reopened to pre-pandemic status. We do have a lot of safety precautions in place. So all staff, faculty, and students complete COVID tests on a regular basis. And the majority of people on campus are have already been vaccinated and have shown that to the university to verify that. I think the Stanford area itself is something like over 90% vaccinated. So the university is really at a phase where it's just, continuing monitoring, being very safe, but largely has reopened due to the fact that we have the luxury of being so well vaccinated, plus the security details that we utilize. We don't know, obviously, what will happen with the pandemic. In the future, there could be other strains that emerge. I will say, even during the shelter-in-place process in summer quarter, our students were still coming to campus to have their courses in person. We work very closely with the various entities at Stanford to provide our classes in person for those on-site weekends, because it really, really helps in the engagement and what students are able to get out of the program. And we understand that that is something that students really want. We work to ensure that we're able to provide the classes in person as much as possible. And if there are issues that arise, we can always work with students depending on their needs. All right, so at this point in the evening, what I will go ahead and do, since we are in a Zoom meeting. Oh, okay, so what I was going to say is if you have questions, you can put them into the chat, or you can use the raise hand feature. And if you want to use your raise hand feature, I can just allow you to unmute yourself, and then you can just talk to us about your questions. So I see that someone already sent something to the chat, so I'll go ahead and answer that. So the question is, for the essay response, if I'm going to quit my job and be a full-time student, what should I include? So if you, I'm assuming that you're talking about the essay response of how do you plan to manage the rigor of the program? That's exactly what you would say. You would say that, you know, I'm planning on taking a hiatus, or maybe you're changing careers, whatever it is that has led you to make the decision to quit your job. And you could then allude to the fact that you plan to do MCiM as your full-time engagement, and how you plan on utilizing that full-time engagement to support your ability to do whatever your why for wanting to do the program is. We have a couple of international students that are completing the program right now, and they all are completing the program as their full-time thing right now. And I can give an example. One of them, he is actually one of our later career students that taking sabbatical, and basically he really wanted to utilize his time at MCiM to work on some business plans that he had. He wanted to take additional courses at Stanford, and really basically utilize the year away from work to revamp and come back and be able to really bring, you know, that vast amount of knowledge with him as he came back to be able to, you know, squeeze the most out of it, and then directly apply what he was thinking of during this year at MCiM to his institution. International student, we also have international students that are, you know, working with different organizations on campus that is in alignment with their interests. So we have one student that's really involved in the Lean Launchpad group here at Stanford, really interested in utilizing the clubs at Stanford to get additional exposure to, you know, how do you market apps? How do you do these different pieces? So she's using her experience at MCiM and additional time with clubs and different engagement opportunities through the university to kind of mesh all of her interests. All right. Okay, the other question is, for essay response, if you should include a future goal. You know, so I would, if you're gonna, I kind of look at that as your why. The reason that you're doing this program, obviously you have some type of goal in mind, some reason that you're interested in. And we have, you know, a variety of different reasons that our students want to do the program. They want to found their own startup. They want to move into a senior role at their current institution. They want to take maybe some of their lived experience through their work and gain the academic background to further flush out what they've currently been working on, and then be able to use that to make a career change into a different different employer. So that why is normally something that you are going to want to address in your statement of purpose. And if you actually go onto the MCiM website, it includes kind of the topics that you'll want to speak to in terms of your statement of purpose. And one of them is, why is this a good program for you? Why are you applying? So that's where I would normally include what that goal is, what that why is. Another question is, does Stanford have humanities or social sciences elective requirements for MCiM curriculum? And does Stanford offer on-campus or on-campus housing? Okay, so 2 questions, I'll address them separately. So Stanford offers multiple electives. In terms of the MCiM curriculum itself, it's a set curriculum. So everyone in the program are taking the same classes each quarter, and you move along as a cohort. So there is no MCiM elective. It's just the set curriculum that you're taking each quarter that Kevin was previously talking about. Now, in addition to MCiM courses, you are a Stanford graduate student, so you are welcome to sign up for additional courses beyond your required MCiM courses. So we have students that are taking, additional entrepreneurial courses at the engineering school. We have students that, they're taking horsemanship courses because they wanted to, it was an international student, and they know it's Stanford born, and they wanted to have that experience, very unique experience. So you can always take more courses. The one piece to note, and this is something that we always remind our students when they are signing up for courses, if you're looking at from a tuition perspective, Stanford does ranges. So if you are 10 or less, it's a certain amount. If you're 11 to 18, which is where our students are because they're full-time students, it's like $17,000 a quarter. Normally MCiM students, you're taking like 12 units per quarter. So if you want to take additional, 3 or 4 unit course, that's fine. But especially for international students, where they normally like to take a lot of additional courses, you want to make sure you don't hit 19, 20, 21. Technically you can, but once you go over 18, you have to pay additional fees for each unit over 18. So we work with our students just to make sure that we're checking their unit count, so they don't get dinged on the tuition unless they are aware of that, and they're fine with that. Students also are allowed to audit courses, which is similar to taking it as elective, but you do not get a grade for the course. Some people like that because it provides a little bit more flexibility. You don't have as much accountability as taking a course, but the flip side is it's not going to show up in your transcripts. And for people who would like to, have that academic record, it'll just show an auditing record. So again, it just kind of depends on, does that matter to you or not? And then the second question about if there are graduate housing, yes. So Stanford offers different housing for undergrad and graduate students. The graduate student housing, I believe, is a lottery, but the nice thing is that the 95% of other programs at Stanford all start in autumn quarter, and we start in summer quarter. So of my students that have applied to graduate housing, I think pretty much, oh, sorry, this is my dog in the background. But I think pretty much all of them that applied to lottery for summer were able to get in. And then once you're in, you can hold the housing through the end of your engagement, so long as you don't have any academic probation issues, which our students would never have. All right, any other questions about the program? I don't know if there's anyone else. Okay. So we have another question, just to clarify. If I'm going to be a full-time student, should I include my reason why I chose to quit my job and pursue the MCiM program? So that's interesting. It depends. If the reason you are choosing to quit your job and pursue the MCiM program is, directly relevant to your reason why, then that may be something that you want to talk about. If you maybe, you want to use this program, I'll give an example so it's more concrete. So for example, if you want to use this program as a way to change careers, so you were, working in marketing space for health technology focused campaigns, and you loved it, you really want to be able to swap to work as a, in a startup for health technology management type space. So you're looking to use the program as a mechanism to change careers. That could be part of your reason why, I'm looking to use this program as a way to leverage my interests and to take a year off to, fully involve myself, take advantage of every opportunity, grow my network at Stanford, and be able to move into this career that I'm really interested into going. And this is how I see the MCiM being directly relevant to my goals. That is something that you would want to include. But if the reason you want to change is, I'm totally fine at my job, but I don't think I have capacity to do that, plus this, and I would rather focus on my career only, maybe it's not directly relevant to your why. I would include it in your essay response about how you plan to manage the rigor of MCiM, because obviously that's directly relevant. But if it's not directly relevant to your overall reasoning for being interested in the program, I probably wouldn't weave it into your statement of purpose, because that's prime real estate that you probably want to use to talk about yourself in a different way. Okay, I'm hearing a thank you, so I'm assuming that was clear. All right, we have about 10 minutes left. Is there any other questions? You can put in the chat, you can raise your hand and just go ahead and chat to me if there's anyone else that has anything else that they would like to talk about in terms of the program, the events that we do, how our students like it, how wonderful our faculty are. I'm happy to talk about any of that. All right. Okay. I'm not seeing anything else come through. Okay, so with that, then I will just use the last couple of minutes to do a couple final reminders. One, if you ever have any questions, go ahead and send us an email at mciminquiry@stanford.edu. Myself and my colleagues are always happy to connect, whether you have a quick email question or you would like to set up a Zoom chat, where we're here to be a resource for you. Also strongly recommend you review our website. There is a lot of really great content on our website, and if probably anything that you're wondering about, you could probably find on there. Also, in terms of Jenny's question, so Jenny's wondering if this will be a recording that will be shared. Yes, we will send it out this week for anyone that registered for this. What portion are international students? So currently we have I think 5 or 6% of our current class are international students. We have international students from Chile, Japan, Singapore, Canada, a couple of, very different areas. And it's wonderful because they bring such a unique lens of how healthcare is in Japan, or how they've experienced working in a healthcare field in Chile, and bringing that to the classroom really provides a great perspective, and it has sparked a lot of great conversation amongst our students. And we have students, again, that have so many different backgrounds, perspectives, areas of interest, that having international students as part of our cohort really helps our cohort as a whole as well, because we have some students that have an interest in global health and operability of technology on a global scale. And so you can have those conversations with your peer that have experienced different global health systems than you. In terms of final reminders, our round 2, the final deadline is January 7th, 2022, not 21. I apologize for the typo. Really recommend you get your application in as soon as possible, though. If you wait until January 7th at midnight, if you have an error, we won't be able to catch it in time for you. But if you submit a couple weeks in advance, we can, we're constantly scanning, and we can catch those errors and flag them to you before we get to the point in our timeline where we actually have to bring the applications to our admissions committee. So it really behooves you to not wait to the last minute to apply. And if you have any questions about your application as well, you can always reach out to us at MCiM. And then we also provide a couple of just drop-in sessions. So there's sessions with myself and Lisa and Veronica, just hours that we have kind of randomly blocked in the next couple of months, where you can come in, and it's just basically the Q&A session of this, where you have a certain question, you can easily hop on Zoom and we're there to answer your questions. Another question is, people who apply first would be more competitive. So whether you applied already in that round 1, or if you plan on applying in round 2, we allocate seats to both. So again, going back to that holistic admissions process, we make sure that whatever round that you apply in, there's that equitable ability to be entered into the program. We don't, admit all the students from round 1 and say sorry to round 2. We don't do that at all. All right. Okay. Well, it looks like there are no additional questions right now. So I will go ahead and give you all a couple of minutes back in your evening. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. We're here to give you guys support and to help make sure that the program's the right fit for you. So I want to echo what Kevin already said earlier tonight. Thank you all for your time and your interest, and we hope to be able to hear from many of you soon.